Thank you for joining us in Africa 24 TV. Today we have with us Mr. Gagan Gupta. He's the founder and CEO of ARISE IIP, an Africa-based investment fund that develops and operates industrial ecosystems. Welcome to Africa 24 TV.
Pleasure
Can
is
you
mine.
tell us more about ARISE IIP?
So ARISE IIP is a company that focuses on transformation within Africa. It is created with a single objective, how Africa transforms its resources within the continent and does not export raw. So what we do is we really look at each country as to what the country is exporting raw, which can be added value within the country, or what the country is importing, which we can produce locally. And today we are in 10 countries. We are in Gabon, we are in Benin, we are in Togo, we are in Chad, we are in Rwanda, in Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. In each country, we have looked at what this country is exporting raw. So if you go to Gabon, Gabon for the last 50 years was exporting raw timber, and now we have built an industrial park that transforms that raw timber into finished products like plywood, particle board, furniture. If you go to Chad, Chad has raw material in terms of livestock, and they used to export raw animals. Today we have abattoir that processes beef there. Then if you go to Benin, Benin used to export raw cashew, raw cotton, and that is transformed within the country. And like that, for each country, we have looked at what is the value chain and focus on the value chain and develop the entire industrial infrastructure around it. The way to look at it is our business, you can say, is five things. We go to a country, we build the hard infrastructure. So we build the road, the water, electricity, the effluent treatment plant, so that anybody wanting to come and invest in the country can come and invest. Secondly, we ensure guaranteed raw material supply. So we work with the farmers, help them increase the productivity, ensure that it's sustainable, and bring the raw material to the industrial zone for the customers. Thirdly, we build the logistic services. So we build warehousing, dry port to ensure that all these products can be transformed in a sustainable manner. Fourthly, we supply all the utilities, things like electricity, water, gas. And lastly, we invest in some units ourselves as and when needed in the country. And that really summarizes what ARISE does. What you can simply say is that we are enabling manufacturing in Africa or making manufacturing in Africa a possibility.
So you are taking part in another edition of the Africa Investment Forum. What does this event represent to ARISE IPP?
So the Africa Investment Forum is a very important forum because it brings people from various backgrounds in terms of bankers, the financiers, where you can come and present a project and then discuss with them what they like, what they don't like, and get commitments. So this morning, our team Rome was actually presenting about the uh, a battery metal transformation industrial zone in DRC, and he was able to get commitments of $30 million to do a feasibility study on that. So it's really a premier place where you can come and present projects, get people interested, and move to next stage of execution.
So how does ARISE IPP aim to change the development model in Africa in reducing unemployment and income inequality while helping to preserve the environment?
So I think ARISE IP model is fundamentally based on ensuring that we do not export employment, because when you export raw products, you're basically exporting employment. Now, by ensuring that you're transforming this product within the country, you are creating jobs. Secondly, when you are transforming the product within the country, you're keeping the value there. So today, when you export raw, if you look at, say, cotton, when you export cotton, you typically get only $1 for a dollar. But if you are able to transform into t-shirts, now for the same thing, you get about $10. So you're able to add value, which means the government gets more taxes, which means the people who are producing gets the right value, and that helps reduces income inequality. And thirdly, very important, what you've said, it has to be sustainable. And how it is sustainable? If you look at cashew, Africa produces about 65% of world cashew. All this cashew today goes back to Asia, get transformed, and goes to US and Europe. But if you're able to transform within Africa and then send it to US and Europe, it means you have reduced the carbon footprint. It does not have to go to Asia and come back. Secondly, you're also now able to ensure that it's fully carbon neutral. So our Gabon industrial zone is the first Africa's carbon neutral zone. Secondly, we also ensure sustainability is not in just sustainability from environment perspective, but also sustainability for the government. So it means that this agro processing park and the industrial zone park should bring additional taxes to the government. And we have seen in Gabon, the taxes have gone up by 27 times by ensuring transformation. Thirdly, it has to be sustainable for the communities. And it becomes sustainable for communities when you create jobs and you create supporting infrastructure. For example, in Benin, as we are building the industrial zone, the government is building housing next to it. And therefore, we ensure it is sustainable all throughout.
So what are the big projects you're having for these countries where you are located? Gabon, Benin, Togo.
So each country, I'll specifically tell you what we are doing. In Gabon is focused on timber processing. So all the timber, the whole zone is focused on timber processing and import replacement. If you go to Benin, Benin is focused on cashew processing. Already the entire cashew of Benin is getting transformed in the country, in the industrial zone. We are focused on soya processing. We are focused on cotton processing. And the first integrated cotton processing plant will be operational this December, 20,000 tons capacity. Two more coming up by end of next year, another 20,000 tons. With that, Benin will be the largest integrated cotton player in Africa. In Togo, we are focused on agri processing. In Chad, we are focused on meat processing. In Republic of Congo, we are focused on timber processing and also mining processing. In DRC, we are focused on general processing and timber processing. If you go to Rwanda, it's focused on glass and timber. So it's very specific to the country. We look at each country's value chain and we say, okay, this value chain is what this country will focus on.
What advice do you have for investors that are still hesitating to invest in Africa?
I think the biggest advice we have is that you come and invest in our industrial zone because first we work with the government to provide a policy framework so that makes it easier. Secondly, it's a single place whereby all the infrastructure is ready made, so you don't need to think about infrastructure. Thirdly, by coming to the industrial zone, we lower the cost for the investor. So we can do pre-made sheds. You don't need to invest in warehousing. You don't need to worry about electricity. Lastly, I believe Africa has the resources and Africa has a young population. Africa is a big market. So people who are wanting to ensure they invest in the future, Africa is the place for them to come and invest.
It's a wrap for this session of the interview on Africa 24. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more programs.